GM Limited provides the following four independent scenario. You are advised to respond to the queries mentioned at the end of each scenario. Support your answer with the relevant extract of applicable Ind AS. Scenario 1. A GM Limited enters into contract with the consumer to sell product G and T and M in exchange of 1,90,000. GM Limited will satisfy the performance obligation of each of the product of different points in time. GTM Limited regularly sells product G separately and therefore the standalone selling price is directly observable. Standalone selling price of T and M is not directly observable. Because of the standalone selling price of product T and M is not directly observable, company has to estimate them. To estimate the standalone selling price, company uses the adjusted market assessment approach to product T and expected cost plus margin approach in more product M. Making this estimate, company maximize the use of observable units. The unit estimate entity estimate the standalone selling price of the following: G is 90,000, T 44,000, product M 66,000. So totally it is 2 lakhs. During the determine the transaction price allocated to each product. Scenario 1. The customer receives a discount for purchasing the bundle of goods and then the same standalone price is rupees 2 lakhs and exceed the promissory consideration 1 lakh 90,000. Where 1 lakh 90,000 is given, here is given now 1 lakh 90,000. And the entity considered that there are no observable evidence about the performance obligation and the entire discount belong. The discount is allocated appropriately to G, T, and M. How? 90,000, 40,000 for 66,000. So 90,000 divided by 1 lakh, 2 lakh, divided by 2 lakhs total into 1 lakh 90,000 cost. 45,000 divided by 2 lakhs into 1 lakh 90,000. 66,000 divided by 2 lakh. So 1 lakh 90,000 totally. So this is the actual cost. So this is the profit can for each product can be done. Second scenario. The GTM Limited regularly sell product GTM individually. The standalone selling price of the product is 90,000, 45,000, 66,000 the total. In addition, company regularly sells product T and M together for 1 lakh. The company enter into the contract with the another consumer to sell the product GMTM exchange for 1 lakh 90,000 and GTM Limited will satisfy that the performance obligation of each of the product at a different point of time. The product T and product M at same point of time. Determine the allocation of costs to product T and M. Now the scenario is totally different. Now we want to see is the product T and M alone 1 lakh. The contract include discount of 10,000, 1 lakh 90,000 minus 2 lakh. The overall transaction would be allocated proportionally to all three performance obligation when allocating the transaction price using the relatively standalone selling point. However, because the entire regularly selling product T and M together of 1 lakh and product G for 90,000, where they give G for 90,000 and this totally for 1 lakh. This is evidence that the entire discount is 10,000 should be allocated in the promise to transfer the product T and M in accordance with the para 82 of Ind AS 115. If the entity transfer the control of Mr. T and M at some point, time they are entirely sold. At a practical matter, the account of transfer of other products, similar performance obligation, this entity could be allocated 90,000 of transaction price to a single performance obligation and G is recognized revenues 1 lakh and the product T&M simultaneously transferred to the consumer. If the contract requires entity to transfer the control of product T and M in different point in time, the allocation amount is 1 lakh is individual allocated to the promise of the transfer product T alone. So product T and amount 40,000, 60,000. So what is the cost? 1 lakh 44,000 divided by 1 lakh 10,000 into 1 lakh and 66,000 divided by 1 lakh 10,000 into 1 lakh. Totally 1 lakh will be scenario. Because he is selling only for 40,000, 1 lakh now. Other product is selling for the cost. They are selling for losses, 4,000, 6,000 loss, but they are sold for profit. Scenario 3. GTM Limited enters into contract with the consumer to product sell GTM are described in scenario 2. The contract also include a promise to transfer the product hope. The total consideration of contract is 2,40,000. And the standalone selling point of the product hope is highly variable because the company sells product hope to different customer for a broad range from 40,000 to 68,000. And so they sell this cost for different. So determine the selling price of product GTM right now. So in this case, before estimate the standalone selling point of product scope using the residual approach, the entity determines whether the discount should be allocated to other performance obligation in the contract. In scenario 2, the company regulate the product T and M to be sold in 60,000 and 40,000, 40,000, 60,000 and 90,000 product G. It is observable evidence that 1,90,000 must be allocated to the three products and 10,000 should be discount should be allocated and the promise to transfer product D and M in accordance with the Ind AS 115. Using the residual approach, the entity estimate the standalone selling point of hope is 50,000. How G 90,000. T and G is 90,000. There is no way. Product T on the 40,000, 60,000. So that is also it's determined. 1 lakh, and the hope is only 50,000. Direct observable with discount, direct observable with the discount. Residually up to 2 lakh 50,000 minus 50,000 now. Because these products, the scenario 3 clearly say 2 lakh 40,000 they are saying. But we have 1 lakh 90,000, 1 lakh 90,000, 2 lakh 40,000, 50,000. So 50,000 is a residual approach. 2 lakh 40,000 totally. Scenario 4. The same factors in scenario 3 applies to scenario 4 except that the transaction price was 2,25,000 instead of 4,40,000. Then now it can reduce. So the same factors scenario 3 applies to scenario 4 except the transaction price is 2,25,000 instead of 24,000. Like 40,000. Consequently, the application of residual approach would result in standalone selling point 35,000 product. Rather than 50,000, 35,000 will come. The hope of 2,20,000 transaction less 1,90,000 is 35,000. The entity conclude that 35,000 could not faithfully deposit the amount consideration to which entity is expected to entitle the exchange of satisfying the performance obligation to transfer the product hope because 35,000 does not approximate the standalone selling point of product. That is, the product should be ranged from 40,000 to 60,000. So 35,000 is not the product. Consequently, the entity review the observable data, include the sales and margin profit to estimate the standalone selling point of product hope using the another suitable method. The entity allocates a transaction price of 2,20,000 to product G, T, M, and hope using their relative standalone selling point of this product in accordance with the paragraph 7380 of Ind AS 115. As per that, you should relatively distribute the product to everything. You can't press it on one, you can't sell below the product price.